Welcome back to Communication Makeover. I'm Deirdre Breckenridge. We've been watching Todd move Jason through the coaching process, and he's embarking on a journey. And he's at the point where he sees his clear impact target. He knows that he wants people to understand that the roadblock, there is none, that you can move forward. The road does not stop here. He's got a bumper sticker, and he knows he wants his passion to be contagious. Let's move forward and listen to where this journey goes.
All right, Jason, this is exciting. Okay, so this is turning into a cause. Can you feel how this is beginning to turn into, I've got something I'm really willing to fight for now. So restate that bumper sticker for me again.
The road doesn't stop. The road doesn't stop, or the road doesn't stop here. It continues, or the road continues. So it doesn't stop here. The road continues.
I like that. I like that. Is there anything about the problem you'd like to add to the beginning of that? Like the grind is hard, but the road doesn't stop. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out.
Yeah, it's sort of like you may think, not you may believe you're at a roadblock, but the road continues. Something like that, where you may think that you're at an impasse, but you're truly not. It is just a momentary sort of delay.
I got you. I'd like to continue working, refine that just a little bit more, because you spoke about people that are at that roadblock, but then some people, they're just, the honey ran out and the moon went down. They're just in the grind of, so what is the problem that they've got? Is it the road's hard, but the passion's around the corner? What would you want to add to the beginning there to talk that spoke to all those people?
Well, and obviously I can't solve everything, and I couldn't be
Right.
able to solve everything. But
Yeah.
but in many ways, I would love to be for people to understand that. Look, I've had many ups and downs. We've all had ups and downs in our careers,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say that when I've been at my lowest in my career,
Mm-hmm.
there's always been a moment, or there's been something that reminds me that, okay, you need to keep going. You need to realize that, okay, it may not be in this field, but there's something there that where you can go next that will give you that next bit of inspiration. And that's what I would love for people. If, like you said, the moon went down, the honey's done, there's something else there where you can be reinvigorated. You can then sort of refill the honey jar and
Yeah.
feel inspired again.
Yeah. Like I've got a bucket of water right here.
Yes.
So just as we've begun to clarify that, how's that feel? Just even though it's still a little gray, how's that feel? Just feeling that clarified.
Excellent. Matter of fact, when you were talking about the bumper sticker idea, that really sort of, you talk about that chill. And I'm not just saying it felt really good. The fact that when I said it was something that just came right to me then. So there's clearly this juice flowing now, this inspiration that is coming along here.
So let's try it. What did you say that made you feel good?
It was the feeling that, yes, we've all been, or I've been at the point where I feel like there's a roadblock.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, and I still know to this day, and I still take it with me, is that there's going to be a way through.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the line.
Wow.
There's
There's a
always
message of
something or
hope.
someone there that is willing to go with you to say, I'm going across and we're going to do this together, or I'm there with you, even if I'm not physically there with you.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but Donald Miller with StoryBrand. He says, oftentimes when we try to establish our authority, we think we need to talk 80% of the time about how great we are. And he says, but that's the mistake we make. He said, if we flip the script and it's 80% empathy for that person's problem and 20% who we are, that's how we hook people. That's how we grab that audience. So do you feel that level of empathy coming into this story now?
Yes, absolutely, I do, and that's something where, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back in any way, but I don't like to I don't like to be the person that is like, hey, look at me. I want to be the person that helps tell the story. I want the person that is going to ultimately have the success potentially by listening, that they feel like they heard that story. I was the one that helped deliver that person to help tell the story, but I wasn't the reason why. I'm not there to talk the whole time. I want the person that we're talking with to be able to say, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I've been through, and here's how I end up getting through it, or this is my story, this is how I got to this point. They're the ones that are the guests. They're the ones that are here to really hammer home that this is the success they've had. They've had their ups and downs. I'm just there to help facilitate and, kind of agree or kind of spur them on in some way.
It's interesting, but the picture that popped in my head was the Adam Sandler movie Waterboy. That
Yeah,
that he didn't invent the water. He's just making sure people get a chance to have some,
that's
and he's
right.
passionate about it because he
Sure
knows
is.
how thirsty they are, and to the point where he becomes part of the team. But it's all about making sure they got the water.
Right. He wanted to have high quality H2O for everyone. So,
That's right,
and
high
that's
quality H2O.
you know,
Now that you said that out loud, how does that feel as a
uh,
sense of purpose? My job is to bring high quality H2O.
yeah. And that's all I want. I mean, I want to be able to, when I'm in the classroom teaching, I try to bring obviously as much energy and to each class. And there are days where I'm teaching, and there's sometimes that something may not hit the right way,
Yeah.
but at least I know that the next time I'm in the classroom, the next communication that I have with someone, it allows me to feel like, okay, I know that this may not have been the best one that I've done, but maybe the next time I step into the classroom or the next class right after that, it gives me an opportunity to say, all right, now I'm going to take the lesson I learned from the last one and make sure this class I'm adjusting so that way they realize that I'm here to help them in some way, shape, or form, or help them through a project, and et cetera.
I think there's more we can develop here, but I'd like to be curious really quick because one of the things you said, you tried to relaunch a few times after COVID, but you just kept hitting roadblocks. You said there was pushback, a resistance, I think is the word I heard. What's the resistance that you've experienced?
Well, I will say that when I had my colleague and I, a good friend that we did the podcast, it wasn't necessarily pushback from either one of us. It just,
Okay.
I think the pandemic really kind of sapped us, and
Yeah.
it just, we
Yeah.
couldn't, that was understood. But since that time, I've wanted to do a podcast, but I think I was in my own way because I could never focus it enough to say, okay, either something popped up, whether it was I had more on my plate at home or in the classroom, or I was trying to do a little something outside. But so those were the roadblocks in many ways, and that was the resistance. And sometimes I've been my own worst enemy to being the resistance for it, because I've been writing it down. When I turned 50,
Yeah.
I said I want to do a podcast. I want to do something where I'm telling stories, but it never materialized because something else popped up. So I've been part of the sort of resistance,
Which
but
is
then
natural. Absolutely.
right.
But if you don't bring water, are they just going to find more water somewhere else, or are there some that are going to die of thirst?
I think there are some that would die of
I
thirst,
mean,
but
that
there are others who are
grind is
going to,
tough. That grind's
yeah,
tough.
it is. And I think in a lot of ways, if I am not giving them the water that they need, or I'm not giving the water, then there are plenty of other people out there that they could find that said, you know what, this has been great, but I'm not getting the nourishment that I had gotten before. They'll find that we know this. I mean, people find somewhere else to go. They'll download something else. They'll
Yeah.
delete. They'll find somewhere. So
And,
I
and,
don't.
and I think that's where I want to get to just a little bit, because when I speak from my broadcasting background, there's a lot of addiction in it. There's a
Mm,
lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of broken marriages because the grind is difficult. And they lose the passion. They lose that fulfillment that you're talking about. Can you feel where I'm going here a little bit? How necessary this message really is?
yeah. I think, as you said, being having been in the industry, and I left a while back, but have still kept my hand and feet in it in some
In some
ways.
ways.
You do see how it affects people and how it can, the grind itself. You're dedicated to. You're right. It can be addicting,
Mm-hmm.
and I was when I started out, and as even toward the end of when I was working in full time, I loved it. I was enjoying it, but I knew there was something else outside that I was like, I loved what I did, but it's time for me maybe to find something else potentially. I was lucky,
Yeah.
but you're right. There is an addiction part of it there where I would love for people to understand that what you're experiencing, especially even in this day and age, is not abnormal. There are plenty of people that are feeling the same way.
Yeah. And when you're stressed, you're going to find a coping mechanism. And that's really what I'm speaking to. And what if your message prevents people from going to those coping mechanisms? So think on that just a little bit, and we're about to take a break, and we'll be right back in just a second.
All right. Well, you just witnessed how Jason's path toward podcasting is taking shape. That water boy metaphor, that hits home. And Jason wants to bring the best quality water to his podcast. Stick around, stay tuned, and we'll be right back.